Okay, this video is going to look at the underlying long-term problems in America that led to the Wall Street crash. First of all then, we have to go back to our old friend Fordney McCumber and the tariff system. Because the tariff system kept out foreign imports, this meant that American produce, things that were made in America, were kept at a false high price. Again, just like the stock market, this creates a bubble because people are paying more for products than they're actually worth. And this unequal idea will eventually lead to the bubble popping when people start to stop buying things. So the tariff created a bubble. It created a situation where people were paying more for American products than they were actually worth. The second long-term problem was, we've looked at how amazing the assembly line was in the Ford plant, but this leads to overproduction. Now this is in all industries, both agriculture and manufacturing. Companies were making more produce than could be sold. So cars, as you can see on this picture here, being overproduced. There was only so many cars people could buy. And of course, you can't just keep making them if no one's buying them. Now this worked in all industries. Food. Farmers were overproducing with new materials and combine harvesters more food than could be bought or sold. And so it leads to a bubble being created that eventually popped in 1929. We've looked and I've banged on at length about the power of washing machines and fridges. Well, think about this. How many times do you buy a fridge? Fridges tend to last, and washing machines roughly about 10 years. So once you've bought that product, then you're not going to be buying another one for 10 years. So the sales of them might go up at the beginning, but of course they're going to go down. Same for cars. Most people buy a car and have it maybe 5 years. So there's going to be a gap of 5 years between buying and selling. And so 1929 was when it all came to a head. People weren't buying these products because they already had them. And so a slump is created. The final factor, and we've looked at the rich and the poor in America, was that the rich got richer and the poor got poorer. An uneven distribution of wealth. So again, because there was such a small amount of people in the country who could afford all these goods and buy them, products could not keep getting sold. Alright? Poor people could not buy them at any point. And they weren't getting any higher wages, and they weren't being looked after by the state, and they didn't have the money or the disposable income to buy them, because the rich were getting richer and the poor were getting poorer. And that in a society means that you can't have long-term growth, because you need the vast majority of people to afford to buy things for an economy to grow. And in America in the 1920s, it was roughly an 80-20 split. 20% of people could buy it, 80 couldn't. And so by 1929, that became reality, and it became self-evident that the economy was undivided. So I'll go through this point again. The rich got richer, the poor got poorer. You need as many people as possible spending money in an economy for it to continue to grow. And in America, because it was divided between the rich and the poor, that could not continue. And by 1925, the bubble popped. So let's recap. Overproduction, the tariff system, and an uneven distribution of wealth.